Time now for weather with Nebraska Extension Ag Climatologist and Market Journal Chief Meteorologist Al Dutcher. Al, here we are into September. Harvest is right around the corner. What can we expect for the week ahead?
Well, Troy, yes, we are here in September. Harvest is right around the corner. We're into the final stages of the crops, getting toward the maturity. We've had some decent moisture this last week at a lot of locations in the state. Some that received over 5 inches in the 7-day period, while some isolated pockets of the southwestern corner of the Panhandle, extreme northwestern portion of southwestern Nebraska, and some isolated pockets in the southern Sandhills just didn't get much in the way of any significant moisture. But outside of that, probably the best precipitation statewide basis that we've seen in quite a long time. These cooler temperatures are, at least here in the eastern part of the state, going to basically be the thing that we'll deal with for better part of this next week, but we'll see that warmth start to slide in from the western part of the state into eastern Nebraska as the week progresses. So let's take a look at the upper air models. First thing I'll draw your attention to is that we do have an upper air trough that was responsible for our precipitation, now situated over the western Great Lakes. So we have a northwesterly flow aloft at the upper atmospheres. That's going to keep the cool conditions across the northeastern half of the state, a little bit warmer in the southwestern part of the state and the southern panhandles. The precipitation that came through last night is now sliding south of the border and will continue to slide farther south as the day progresses. And as we get into tomorrow, the ridge will start to build into the Panhandle, so we'll see temperatures return to the upper 80s to low 90s, and we'll see 80s and low 80s across most of eastern Nebraska as the precipitation itself continues to remain south of us with the frontal boundary. Now as we get into Monday, the ridge starts to expand, covers the southeastern half of the state. We should see temperature in the upper 80s to low 90s in many of these locations. As you go north of that region, we'll be looking at low to mid 80s. Overall, not much in the way of precipitation, very scattered to the south of us, most concentrated over the northeast. And on Tuesday, we get a little bit farther expansion to the east before this trough starts to deepen and pushes a little bit of cool air into our region. So overall, with low pressure over the Texas Panhandle, we would think we'd have moisture to deal with, but that frontal boundary is going to intercept it. So we're going to stay pretty much dry here in the Central Plains. On Wednesday, just a slight expansion toward the east with the temperatures. So upper 80s, low 90s west, mid 80s to the east, and we'll start to see a southerly flow at the surface that will increase our dew points. But once again, most of precipitation remains over the northeastern United States. On Thursday, the ridge itself tries to build toward the east and will become more prevalent as we go into Friday. Low pressure develops over north central Kansas, but once again, we do not have any moisture and strong enough low pressure to pull that moisture up into our region, so we're looking at dry conditions, maybe some clouds associated with this low, but that's about it. And then on Friday, this ridge parks itself over the southern plains and extends up into northern Nebraska. Low pressure to our east at the surface and in southeastern Montana, so we're caught between these two systems. Nothing in the way of moisture, but we will see some very warm temperatures statewide, pretty much everybody in the 90s. As we look farther out into the future, next Thursday the following Tuesday, we still see that high pressure system aloft dominating the southern plains. That will probably start to break down as we get into the second half of next weekend, and we'll start to see this trough from the northwest moving in. And in terms of precipitation, above normal to our northwest, we're catching the tail end of this dryness here in Nebraska. By the time that we get the second half of the weekend, it looks like this trough will start to make its way into the northern plains, and we'll see increasing precipitation, particularly as Husker harvest days begins.